Welcome back, everybody, to the Dusty Bender Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Stuffy Nose Chance Watson. With you, as always, Taylor Wells, not so stuffy of a nose.
Cleared sinuses well.
Cleared sinuses. Taylor cleared sinuses well.
That's right. It's my
Is that what
name.
Is that what you come out to the games in Alaska as?
Yes. and WrestleMania.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have a professional wrestling league up in Alaska?
I know they had like a professional. I think they called it like AFCs, like Alaska Fighting Championships or something. So
Are you serious?
I know
Is
they
that a
had
thing?
that. Yeah, I know they had like a UFC. I have a buddy that fought in it, but yeah, and they also attempted the arena football shit. I mean, they were trying it all, man. They gave it a good run.
Alaska wrestling, Alaska USA wrestling. Oh, but
There you go.
that's probably like actual wrestling. I was talking about WWE.
That's like it's the nice little unitards and shit.
Yes, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the stuff you can go to the Olympics for and have your parents ruin your life.
Sure.
Hey, just to be fair to any wrestlers listening to the show right now, there are plenty of hockey parents that have ruined their kids for a sport. So
yeah, and you can probably get a scholarship through wrestling easier than a scholarship through hockey. So
yeah,
stay in school.
There are countless hockey players out there that can absolutely, skate backwards like it's no tomorrow and read at a third grade level. So
right, me
because they spent their life perfecting one skill.
Skating backwards.
Right, exactly.
Backwards C cuts.
Now, Taylor, let's go on to critique their one thing that they've worked on their entire lives.
Cool. Yeah, let's fill an hour and a half with it.
Everybody, once again, we want to thank our sponsors for the show. First off, obviously, the Hockey Podcast Network. The Dusty Bender Podcast is part of the Hockey Podcast Network. Jump on over to the hockeypodcastnetwork.com and check out the many shows that the Hockey Podcast offer. Hockey Podcast Network, boy, that's a mouthful. THPN, that's what I should probably call them from now on. All the shows that they offer, it's over 100 shows. The one that in particular that I like, that's probably the coolest of mine, is the one with Terry Ryan. You should definitely check that out. But even our boy over at the Devil's Podcast, he's got his own show now.
Yeah, man. Try and check out the YouTube channel. They do a lot of live streams. They'll do in-depth game as the games are going on and things like that. They'll do some live streams and stuff like that. Chance and I have done it a couple times, and it is a good time. It's fun to kind of just be in the moment with people and bullshitting about the sport that we all love. So go check those out.
Absolutely. And while you're at it, find the Dusty Bender Hockey Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you listen to your audio podcasts on, or if you like to watch us and see our smiling faces, jump on over to YouTube and give us a subscribe over there. All right, folks, next up, our favorite bar, our favorite hockey bar in Spokane. Actually, favorite hockey bar anywhere, really. Let's be honest. Did you see that? That was the Donald Trump arms. It's huge. It's the greatest.
It's a huge bar.
Listen, other hockey bars, they just don't know hockey. All right, this
like
hockey
me.
bar. My Donald Trump impression needs definite work. The Hub Tavern out in Spokane, Washington, folks, on Monroe. The Hub Tavern is your home away from home, part of the Anchor Alliance for the Seattle Kraken. That means that they are one of the official Seattle Kraken bars in our area. And folks, this place is just, I can't say nice enough things about the Hub Tavern. What else could we say about the Hub Tavern other than it's the best hockey bar in the Inland Northwest, huh?
Try to say something mean. It's impossible.
It's really tough. I mean, if I had to, it's hard to critique this place. There are some days I wish it wasn't a cash bar.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of, there's a lot of smiling faces in this bar.
Everybody seems way too happy there.
It's a little annoying. Yeah, it's like a little.
But I'm brought back to earth because like we're all smiling because we're just constantly making fun of each other.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Like everybody's having a good time, but if you like heard it from the street and like didn't understand the body language and whatnot, you would think that a fight was about to break out at the Hub at any time.
Yeah, there's just a crowd of people that sit outside of the bar just hoping for a fucking brawl. They're like,
why
there's
are they
gotta
going
be.
at it?
Listen to them in there. There has to
How
be a
could you?
fight.
He's saying something about his mom. Oh, that's got to be a fight,
Oh man, it's his mom walks out.
right?
Oh, dang. Oh
Damn,
shit.
damn it. She
Yeah,
she
the
sticks
hub.
up for herself. She's like, "You son of a bitch!
Yeah.
How dare you insult my son? He is playing the best hockey he can for the Montreal Canadiens."
At least I'm not a Ducks fan. Hmm.
And see, okay, folks, for newer listeners of the show, this is a reference to Susan Allen,
Mm.
Jake Allen's mother. She made many guest appearances on the show very early on in our early days, and now making her rounds back on the show.
She's OG, man.
Man, Susan Allen is right up there. She's the goalie whisperer.
Sure is.
Absolutely. Jump on back to some old episodes if you care about the saga of Susan Allen. Uh, fuck. One last thing on the hub, folks. Coming up here on Saturday, October 28th at 4 p.m. at starting at the Corbin Park basketball court is the Witches Ride. We talked about it a little bit before on the show. All witches and warlocks are welcome. You're going to be riding around. It's basically a bar crawl in the Monroe area up there in northern part of Spokane. So go on. The hub is a part of it. So if you guys are interested in dressing up this Halloween and have nothing to do, but you want to jump on a bike and look like a witch or a warlock, jump on down to the Corbin Park basketball court and stop by the hub for the 6th annual Witches Ride.
Nice.
Yes, sir. All right. Also, folks, we got a shout out to one of our newest sponsors, Monterey Cafe, the karaoke bar of Spokane, located in downtown Spokane, in a very nice area near the comedy club and arcade bar. It's a great area. Awesome staff, folks. Awesome staff, awesome drinks, and some of the best pizza that you can get. And it's cheap too. Like cheap pizza, it'll fill you up. It's delicious. Have a great time going. Sing your heart out. Absolutely, just an awesome fucking place, folks. And if you went into the UFC fights, I hope you guys had a good time that we talked about in the last episode.
Ooh. I'm such a weenie. I can literally watch a hockey fight. I can watch them beat the shit out of each other. Seeing a guy in an arm bar. You ever watch UFC? Like seeing a guy arm bar another guy where it's just like he's basically trying to hyperextend his.
He's just using it as a lever to fucking.
Yeah, and the guy eventually taps, but like I've seen them go too far and just snap that sucker, dude. Like that makes me cringe.
Yikes.
Yeah, really tests my fucking guttural fortitude. You know what I mean?
Well, they had it on there, and they are known for putting on the UFC fights. So if you guys are ever interested in watching a UFC fight with some friends out and have some beers, check out the Monterey Cafe. They do have weekly specials, and their cover photo currently shows them, but I don't think that these are accurate because they've changed it up to like, this is updated January 25th. So no, I know they have like half off twisted teas and something on a Tuesday or something like that, but they change these up all the time. So they have daily specials out there. $1 off all whiskeys on Wednesdays. Oh, awesome.
You just have to go in and find out what they're.
You might have to just go in and have a beer and a slice of pizza and check it out yourself, folks.
Yeah, just walk in. What's your special? And
Hey, while you're there, maybe say that the Dusty Bender podcast sent you, and they might
undercover.
Yeah, like real quiet, like hey,
come here.
I learned about this place from Dusty Bender.
Works every time.
Can I get the Dusty Bender special?
Yeah, that'll be $29.
They just break your legs. That's
ew. They instantly put you in an arm bar over the bar. Oh, really? Cool. Yeah, give me your arm.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
Happy to do it. Come on back.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. All right, and last but not least, folks, we got to mention Fire Chief Johnny. Johnny Boy, longtime listener, longtime supporter of the show. Gotta love him. Gotta love his predators. Those cute predators,
Yeah, they're fighting.
I just wanna go up to that predator cat that they have as a mascot and give him a little cheek squeeze.
Oh, so cute.
He's adorable. Please tell me his name's not Thrasher. It can't be.
Gotta be, dude. Right?
It can't be. No, this is the NHL where our mascots don't make any sense.
It's like vegan or something.
No, it's gotta be country themed, right?
Yeah.
Like his name's like Opry.
I don't know what that means.
Like the Grand Ole Opry?
Oh, all
No,
right.
nothing.
Nah, dude, I don't know. I'm not cultured.
Predators mascot. Johnny Miller's screening at the. His name is Nash. God damn it!
Ah, there you go. Even worse.
It's so worse.
Even more
That's
clever.
that's somehow worse. How is that? I was gonna get on him for being the Thrash or something like that, and his name is Nash
Love it.
with a G.
Oh,
Mm.
ganache, like ganache,
Yes,
gnocchi.
a fine ganache. I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know what this was. That's
nuts.
yeah. I was gonna say, is he
Bag of
getting he's getting those
bag
checked
of
well?
walnuts.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. We should probably talk about some hockey.
Sure, sure. Yeah, we can do that.
um, so, folks, we're going to talk a lot about the Frozen Frenzy that we had here last night, but some breaking news that came out today that we spent quite a while talking about and now seems kind of pointless. But the Pride tape is back, folks. Actually, let's rephrase that. Players are now allowed to show their support for social causes with their stick tape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which opens up the door to in classic NHL fashion. Once again, they're not picking on Pride Night. It is all social causes are now open. So regardless of what social cause you want to grab tape for, see if I was an NHL player now, I would take advantage of this. Like every night, it would be a different social cause. I would be the Miss America of stick tapes.
I see this going horribly wrong now, though. Right? Like
Oh
now
yeah.
there's going to be like the 5 or 6 players that were that are pissy about it, and they're going to put a fucking swastika on their blade or
Oh,
something, dude. Like,
Ovi's just fucking Ovi's just got like Putin face, like Putin's face just wrapping around all over.
oh
You're like,
man,
oh,
ooh, a little
I
bit of
was really
regret.
against this pride tape thing, but now,
It's a different kind of pride, but
yeah,
okay. Yep, you do your thing.
he's over. Ovechkin, what do you have to say about your controversial tape? I have pride too.
He finally scores more than 2 goals in a fucking season.
I have I have strong pride in Soviet Union.
Love my pride. I honestly, so it all started. So we'll go back just a second.
All
It
right,
all started.
give us a recap.
Travis Dermott of the Coyotes. So apparently, kind of following some Toronto fans and stuff. He did this with Toronto quite a bit. Like this
Yeah.
was a pretty normal thing for him. It was the I believe just the top, right? It was like the
It's like the bottom top. Like it was like
yeah,
he did one loop and then he taped his stick on top of it, but like kind of showed on the bottom. Wow,
right.
that was this is an episode for hand gestures. Jesus
Sure
Christ.
is. Yeah, people tune into YouTube.
If you just put this episode on mute, you're gonna be very confused.
Yeah, maybe you should. We used to do that. We used to do that with old movies, right? You lip sync and you talk for the actors.
That's true. Yeah.
Here we
All
go.
right. Travis Dermott.
Yeah, so Travis Dermott, he ended up being the first one to kind of crack the Pride tape. I mean, what were they gonna do, right? He had backing from say Brian Burke, a lot of the big name players, McDavid, and those kind of guys were like, this is crazy that we can't just they want us to express ourselves and then they don't want us to express ourselves, right? Like what? Pick a
Right.
fucking lane. So basically, then the NHL the NHL basically sent something out and was like, "Well, we're gonna look into this," and everyone was like, "You hold no fucking water. Like
Right.
your gun is unloaded right now, bro.
You
Like,
stand for nothing.
yeah, come on.
You stand for nothing and fall for everything.
Exactly. Like you're killing me. You're not going to do anything. And then I think it was maybe a day or two later, they came out and just said, yeah. So everything we said before, yeah, that financial advisor guy is canned because
Oh,
we're losing more money now.
the
It's just
statement
crazy.
was very well written in the
Oh
sense
yeah,
that
well,
it was
was.
short, it was terse, and it got the point across, but it admitted zero wrongdoing. Like
Oh,
there
100%.
was no culpability whatsoever of like that thing that we did like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was a bad idea.
Yeah,
Right?
it probably wasn't good.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, it was just uh, after speaking with multiple sources.
Right.
Uh,
No, not even that. They were
Yeah.
just it was like this. It was like this had never. There was no ban, and they're just like letting us know. Like,
Yeah.
by the way, you can put stuff on your stick now.
The staffer that sent that tweet out is no longer with the NHL. Where's
He's no longer with the living.
where
That's
right? Where's that poor guy
he
at?
is not to be. He's with Hillary Clinton's friend.
He's with Jesus now.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he kind of pushes it, and then it sounds like other players are going to do it, right? Like
Hmm.
once there was no repercussions to Travis.
Right.
So yeah, the NHL turns a 180 on this. Uh, Good call. I get like I don't even want to give them credit for it. You
No,
know?
no, there's no credit. The credit is due to Travis Dermott, really. And
Sure.
even then, he sounds like one of the guys who would be like, "Dude, I was just doing this because I got gay friends, right? Like
Right. Like he doesn't even give a shit. Right.
yeah." He's like, "You're just humble as shit," you know. So yeah, it's a great point. They don't give them any credit, right?
No, they get no credit.
I mean, yes, they could have been like, "Oh, well, we're gonna find him," or "Oh, well, the next one, I swear to God."
Sure.
So I mean, I guess they could have done that, so I'll give them a little bit of credit. But I think in the grand scheme of things, like you're saying, right, they did this and they shot themselves in the foot.
Sure.
Don't feel bad for them.
Like it's the exact same point we made the first time we talked about this. It's all about money.
Yeah, 100%.
It's all about money. They learned that this was probably going to be a bad PR move for them, and they in their efforts to try to not look like they're taking a side, because I genuinely don't think they were trying to take a side. I think they were just trying to put this issue to bed.
Yes.
Like I don't think for a second that the NHL is homophobic. I don't think that for 1 second. I think that they are just trying to stay. They want hockey fans to care about hockey.
Yeah.
They've ran the
Which is
numbers
fair.
and they know that when you start worrying about shit when you're bringing politics into hockey, it's bad for business. So they were trying to do what they thought was going to do that, and inadvertently, it just did the opposite.
I think it's just funny to me that like we always joke that like Twitter has no voice. It's just empty threats and people just being assholes to each other to be assholes.
Yeah, or it's
I'm
the other way.
Yeah, well, I mean, this showed me that depending on what the issue is, they are looking at Twitter, right? But like
Yeah.
the board ads, right?
Yeah.
Everyone was pissed about the board ads, and they were like, "Well, fuck you,"
Right.
you know.
Well,
So
the
it's,
board
it's
ads are
just,
fixed now.
oh yeah, I'm sure, I'm
They
sure they're
so
fixed.
far I haven't seen anything that has been glaringly terrible. But we'll see. That's
The only
year is young.
the only thing I will say, and actually, someone else brought this up as we were watching hockey. There was a slight glitch in the board ads, and you could kind of see what the actual board ads said
Oh,
at the rink,
okay.
right? And it's I understand, right? Like me as a consumer watching, say, Tampa Bay versus Florida, right? Unless I go to Tampa Bay or Sunrise, like
Yeah.
I will never go to Chef Tony's Pizzeria, right? Like, so
Sure.
I get it from that standpoint, but at the same time, like, I mean,
Dude.
you can't tell me that they're
Chef Tony is pissed right now.
Chef Tony's
Like,
dope, but like that's the thing. It's like you're killing mom and pop shit too, right?
I don't
So,
want you at my pizzeria either.
yeah, Gary Bettman tries to come in. He's like, lock the door.
Let's be real. If it's a pizza place in Florida, he's probably not Italian, but the
He acts
demographics.
Italian.
Yeah, the demographics there are not. It's probably somebody that's like 65 or older.
It's a 67-year-old Cuban family,
Yes.
and they created Italian accents just to sell their pizza, and
Sure,
I love
sure.
it. I'd go to Tony's if that was the case.
God,
But yeah.
I don't even want to try. I don't even know what a Cuban accent is. So
No, I'm not gonna. It's impossible.
I take pride in some of the accents that I can do, but I don't even know what a Cuban accent is. So
Yeah, I don't either. And it will instantly sound super racial. So
sounds super racist.
let's avoid that. Huh?
I'm not trying to mock it. I'm just trying to impersonate it as best I can. But
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you would give it a good shot. It's just it
Yeah.
would turn out very bad.
yes, very much so. See, the Russian one I can do. That's
Yeah.
I got that. I sound like I'm from Russia, honestly.
Yeah, but seriously, rock the Pride tape. Pride tape put shit out too. They were just like, cool.
I want a player now just to make a point to the NHL. I want a player that is going to have a different social cause tape on their stick 82 games of the year. Like every night it's something different.
be hard to do. I don't know if there's.
I,
Well, we could find a way.
are you going to say there's not 82 causes out
There's
there?
definitely there's.
We could come up with 82 causes.
I mean, we have 365 different like it's your dog's cousin day, and you know, and then you send him a card or something.
Okay, all right, you got so like the low hanging stuff, like you got St. Patrick, you do holidays, okay, you follow those, all right, and then you can do the Miss America stuff like end world hunger tape, some shit like that.
Just burger tape.
Burgers
and dogs.
Doubles up as hot dog day.
Yeah,
burger
doubles
day.
up as Phil Kessel day.
Ooh, now see, Phil Kessel would rock that tape.
Fuck yeah, he would. Every day.
It's just hot dog.
Yeah. Different sizes of hot dogs.
Sometimes ketchup, sometimes mustard, sometimes both.
That's right.
He's got new condiments on it every game.
I could see it. Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I think it's good. I just, like I was saying with the goalie masks, right? It's just another way for people to express themselves. So just let them fucking do it. Who cares? Yeah,
who gives a shit? Like this is the world. This is life. Like even if you don't necessarily like, I'm not even necessarily saying agree because I'm not trying to like pump up the tires of homophobes, but like even if you're not like as raw about it as them, like there's no reason to be angry about it.
Yeah, just wear the same color of your own skin tape.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? I mean, that's probably what a couple guys will do.
Probably.
Who knows?
Most likely. I want it would be like mine would be the whitest tape. Like they don't make.
Mine would have little freckles and like gingery hair on it. They'd be like, yeah, no, that looks right.
Looks like did you just like drag your hockey stick across a red Labrador?
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
Yes. That is correct. I got both my dogs are basically gingers too, so it's kind of fun. There's just ginger hair all over this fucking house.
Perfect. Your wife is very happy about that, I'm sure.
Oh, I mean, her hair is the most places, and I got 2 dogs and myself. So, I mean, she still outnumbers us. That's
fair. That's very fair. All right. Now let's move on to something where the NHL does get some credit, and you know what, to a more degree, ESPN. So last night, for the very first time ever, we had 32 teams in the National Hockey League playing on the same night. They called this the Frozen Frenzy. For more football fans out there, this would be close to like NFL Red Zone. Mm-hmm. Where you can watch every game as it's going on.
Every scoring play.
Right, exactly. But in order to do this, you have to have lots of games going on at roughly 100%. The same time. And so the last night, as we record this Wednesday night, Tuesday, the night before, they had all 32 teams playing on staggered starts starting at 3 p.m. Western time, Pacific Standard Time, rather, and then just going off from there. Taylor, what'd you think of this?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. My only qualm, and I was trying to pull up the tweet because there was it started somewhere else. It wasn't. This isn't a genuine thought. This is what I saw. But why on a Wednesday? Right? Like what I want to be able to just all day, man. Like just give me a Saturday.
I've got an answer for you.
Frozen Frenzy going on. Fucking do it.
I have your answer for you.
College football.
Yeah, they don't want to compete with football.
I hate that though.
They don't want to compete with football. Shit, they inadvertently competed with Game 7 of the World Series semis.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, but you have to kind of take those risks occasionally too, right? Like if you're gonna, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I follow baseball during the summer, right? And I play a ton of fantasy football, so I do watch football. But
really, one of your only faults, honestly.
Baseball.
Yeah.
I have many, but that's just one of many.
That's your biggest one.
Oh, biggest one, yeah.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah, so I mean, at some point, you got to let people just make the decision, man. And I think college football is big. There's a lot of people that watch it. Hockey is growing, and like if it's on all day, right? College football is on all day, but most people, if I'm an Oregon Ducks fan, right, I'm watching the Oregon Ducks game. And I'm probably looking for something else after that game. Yeah. right? So I mean, if you're on all day on a Saturday, like you're maybe competing against those college football people. The Oregon people go and then they move over to Frozen Frenzy, right? Like I just yeah, and I'm sure they will, right? Like I'm sure that the calendar changes, right? And football's going to kind of be dying down, and I can see them, starting to put it on Saturdays and stuff like that. Then, so I definitely get it, but yeah, I mean it was great. I don't want to hate on it too much because I mean, shit, there was like over 100 goals through 16 games or something. They had a lot of shit going on. I mean, God, it would be, it'd be great to get some of these like big time personalities, like a Danny Heatley on there, just fucking chirping and, just spouting off. Oh, what a fucking dirty dangle, fucking between the legs, laces, fucking tangling, like just.
That was a great
off,
Danny Heatley impression.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah,
I thought so.
I felt like I was on the show with Danny Heatley, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't say enough. Kind of fucking fuckers.
I was about to ask you, hey Danny, why do the Ottawa Senators suck?
Dude, the Ottawa Senators are a wagon. So is Buffalo. That's the other one. I just about sent out a tweet. I think it was.
Oh shit! And getting you onto a tweet is difficult.
It's almost impossible.
Getting you to go onto the Dusty Bender page and make a tweet is fucking goddamn pulling.
I think it was Montreal won or.
Will I find it in the drafts? I'll go into the drafts and be like, oh, Taylor must have wrote this.
Yeah, it says like there's like 17 drafts of it. No. This is dumb. People won't like this. Anxiety kicks in.
Right.
Yeah, but
people might see this.
People, this is public stuff. So let me write it again.
Right.
Yeah, so I wanted to make that tweet about like, oh, the Canadians are a wagon, just fucking giving it to them because it's pretty funny. But yeah, it was great.
Absolutely.
It was great.
It was great. No, production value. Look, this is the first time they've done this, so obviously there's going to be some kinks. But look, man, it was good. Yep. Okay. Having games on, being able to flip through them all, having that constant engagement of hockey, being able to like feel like it was, as the moment's going on, there's always something going on. God, it was fucking great. Yeah, absolutely awesome. I think I know some coach Derek Lalonde was upset about the staggered start times, and he understands it in the greater scheme, but he was bitching a little bit about it. I'm trying to think. What's that?
I loved that. That was going to be one of my positive feedbacks for it.
Yeah, staggered start times. In fact, they've really fucked this up in the past, where like every game starts at 4:30.
Yeah,
and you're like, what the fuck? Like how every game goes to intermission at this time, so I can't flip over and watch anything else for another 30 minutes. So no, I get that. Honestly, like I don't think there's too much criticism that I have of this. This was a net positive for the game.
Yeah, it was awesome, and I think comparing it, I know there was like a little bit of chatter about like, we're just copying football. Football is one of the most popular sports, especially in America, right?
I don't see a problem with that.
Copy that shit, dude.
Yeah, I don't. If you're taking the format, like there's nothing wrong with the format. Like that's not copy. That's just smart. Like do people who put TV shows on primetime go like, oh, you guys copied fucking Cheers back in the 60s? Like, no, it's just primetime. It's just smart marketing.
Add fights into that, I'm there. Add a good fucking scrap and a little lull in the goals. I think it started off a little slow, right? I mean, it's going to because the game has to start.
Sure.
But throw in some scraps in there. Maybe throw in, if there's a little lull, just you just the production value, right? The guys behind the scene getting the replays and stuff, right? Throw some of that shit in there. I think that's great.
Yeah.
It just overall, you're right. It was awesome.
It was good. Now, I will admit that I did run into the issue of the old tried and tested, like, why can I watch this game on Hulu or ESPN Plus and I can't watch this game? That did pop up a couple times because there were games that were on TNT. I tried to watch it on Hulu. So like my smart TV out in my room, like it has Hulu, but it doesn't have ESPN Plus. So I have to kind of get creative sometimes. But and there were some games on TNT. I think those were the Canadian teams. So there might have been some overlap there. But you know what? Working through the kinks. This is overall a good thing. I don't want to give too much criticism to the NHL because this was actually a smart move on their part. and good for ESPN facilitating and kind of rolling that out.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well turn to the biggest network in sports when you're trying to figure out how to grow the game a little more, right? So,
Yeah.
no, I liked it.
No, it was good stuff. Okay, so kind of just jumping around those games of that night, like, because I mean, there was so much hockey going on. Like, I'm not going to break down every game, but obviously, this is loosely a Seattle Kraken podcast, so we should probably talk about the Seattle Kraken's game against the Detroit Red Wings last night, which was an absolute fucking barn burner.
Sure was.
I do. I absolutely love, as a Kraken Red Wings fan, I love that the Kraken and the Red Wings like kind of hate each other.
Right.
Like
They really do.
there's this weird rivalry going on where they just really don't like each other, and I fucking love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's so great. Like I just love Moritz Seider just being an absolute fucking madman and just face washing two guys at once. And
it wasn't a face wash. He punched Beniers in the face, dude.
No, well,
yeah,
maybe
he did.
No,
he
maybe
swung at him.
Well, maybe Matty said something that hurt his feelings.
Matty probably said, "Hey, man, you okay?"
Matty can't say anything mean.
Can't say anything mean.
And Seider doesn't have a good English yet, so he's being sarcastic. He's like, Matty's like, "Hey man, are you doing okay?" And like Seider doesn't understand sarcasm yet, so he probably thought it was like, "Hey man, you okay?"
He's a mockingbird. Hey, you okay?
Just fucking slugs him.
I loved the Heat, man. I loved it. It was great. Yeah, they really do. They like secretly don't like each other.
I don't know where this came from. The games are always close when they play, so that's good. I like that. But because going back to when the Kraken first came in the league, they've always been close games.
I think the one you and I went to, I think it ended up like 4-1. So, but
yeah.
I think it was close, and then until the end. So I think still to your point. So, yeah.
It's been that was a hell of a game. I watched it. I do need to address both fan bases at the moment as somebody who falls into both camps for a second. So it's making the rounds right now. The controversy, the fucking refs, and I'm God. Both sides. Listen, first off, the refs were bad for both sides. Like the officiating was bad. I'm assuming it probably had something to do with the Frozen Frenzy, where we've never had this many games before, and we had to really dig deep into the ref pool.
So ECHL guys.
Yeah, you probably had to get some guys that don't necessarily do NHL games. I don't know. I'm probably just pulling that out of my ass. But in any case, the officiating in that game was terrible. In fact, a lot of the games this year have been pretty terrible. So please get rid of that. So putting on my Kraken hat. All right. Actually, no. Let me put on my Red Wings hat first. You can't throw your stick.
Yeah, it's literally illegal.
It's like it's like one of the biggest immediate calls in the game. Like right up there with like catching the puck and hand passing or high sticking someone in the face. Like
putting a puck over the glass.
It doesn't matter intention. Like if you throw your stick, even if you're falling and you didn't mean to do it, you throw your stick and you hit it. You threw your stick. It's a fucking penalty shot. There's kids in fucking Ontario that are playing street hockey right now. That you ever play street hockey and you throw your stick and it hits your buddy in the shins and he loses the fucking ball, and even then you're like, I fucked up, I threw the stick, man, fuck, you get that one back.
Yeah, you get up, you get back onto your blades, and you're definitely throwing down, dude.
That too. But like you get the ball back, and it's you can't throw your stick, and that was a huge missed call. 100%. Refs should have called it. There is no denying it, and any Kraken fan who comes back with a problem with that is full of shit. Now,
which I didn't see a ton of Kraken fans that didn't have a problem with that, but
not too many. Yeah. So, but now throwing on the Kraken cap, Red Wings fans need to shut the hell up, because the Red Wings or the Kraken were up 3-1 in this game at one point.
Uh-huh.
The reason that the Red Wings got back into it is because of the refs.
Sure.
Like, and I'm not even necessarily saying that they were bad calls. Like, there was a double minor. There was a double minor on Shore where he high sticked somebody and there was blood. That's an automatic call. Like, refs got it right. Yeah. And then there was another power play after that. So, and they weren't bad penalties. It's just, you can't sit here and say we lost because of the refs, and then the only reason that you got to the overtime was because of power plays. Like
Yeah.
up until that point, the Red Wings were not necessarily playing their best hockey. In fact, when we can kind of get into the Red Wings here in a second, because they are playing quite well at the moment, even with the OT loss. But I think second in the conference division, something like that.
That sounds right.
Sounds right. Detroit's been playing quite well, but that game in particular, like they're outscoring a lot of their defensive problems. Like Husso, when you're winning, everybody overlooks percentages, but Husso's save percentage isn't like fantastic. Like it's nothing to write home about. It's like 0.908 or something like that. You're not Grubauer numbers, but you're not Ottinger numbers. So they were not playing their best game. And you talk to any Red Wings fan, they'll probably admit that they weren't playing their best game. But yeah, come on, even if those penalties were deserved, refs can ignore things and that kind of stuff. And they do all the time. The reason you got into that game, you have the number one power play. That power play.
That's cheap.
That power play, they're running it like a 48% power play.
They're cheating.
It is. Like,
what they're cheating. They're cheating somehow.
It's got Alex DeBrincat
has to be cheating.
Alex DeBrincat is the cheat card.
Yeah, he's a fucking stud.
That guy's just unreal. But yeah, when you score, I think it was like two to three power play goals. I think it was 3 power play goals. Like that's going to get you back in the game, especially when you're a ref and you know how well that power play works. So, if you're a Red Wings fan, just call it a wash, okay? Like Raymond had the game on his stick. He could have ended it. He rang it off the bar. It happens, okay? It's an OT loss. Move on. Get ready for Boston.
Yeah, I think it is slightly warranted from the Red Wings side of things, right? Like, yes, they got back into the game because of power plays, but I don't think that, like, you're looking at it like, oh, that is a penalty, right? And so in that regard, right?
I
like,
do not take away from that at all.
I get it, but yeah, I'm with you. I mean, yeah, I mean, you could have probably sent Sider to the fucking,
Sure.
You could have sent him to the showers for his fucking, him punching Matty Beniers in the face, who's an unexpected player, right? Sure. So I'll be the first one to say refs can, they can alter games, but I this early, I just you can't look at it like that. Like you're saying, they were not playing good until they started getting some of those power plays. I mean,
until they had 6 minutes, basically 6 minutes of uninterrupted power play.
Which they scored 3. I think they scored 3 power play goals total, but I think they scored 2 on that big one.
And then they had a power play like roughly not long after that power play.
Yeah. So, but I completely agree. Jaden Schwartz, that's a clear penalty. I think the rule is penalty shot. I think you said
yes.
I think it is penalty shot, no matter if he's on a breakaway or not, right?
So to me, that doesn't even. I mean, would Larkin? Do you want Dylan Larkin taking a penalty shot against your team? No. I'd much rather if I'm getting the penalty shot against me, you're hoping like, God, please, Andrew Kopp, one more time, like go for the hat trick of missed penalty shots.
Right.
You don't want Dylan Larkin having a penalty shot, and the odds are pretty good that he probably would have made it. But that being said, it's not like he got fucking blown out of the water or anything. Like this was a close game.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't necessarily complain with an OT loss.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it like this, right? I know these don't match up perfectly, but you get a penalty shot from the thrown stick, it's 3-2.
Yeah.
Right. Or at this point, what we know now, it's 5-5. Right.
Sure. Right.
So I'm with you there. I don't think we can point all of those fingers. I think it is a missed call, but there's a missed call in every single game.
Every game. Literally every game.
Minute of every game, there's probably a missed call, right? So, but I mean,
some players' entire careers are based on getting away with shit.
Yeah, 100%. Mine, dude, I got away with a lot.
There you go.
So, yeah, you can see how far I got.
Yeah, you're here with me right now,
going, dude. Look at me, fucking getting
it. So, tell me a little bit about what you thought of the Kraken in this game.
So what's interesting is after the last podcast, we talked a lot about shaking the lines up, right? They did not the next game though. So they did not against Carolina. They kept the same lines against I think it was Carolina. They kept the same lines. I think that game was going on as we were recording. I think it's
Carolina, Rangers, and then Detroit.
Right. And so the Carolina game, they looked really good, and everyone in Kraken land was like, "Holy fuck, we're back!" We're fucking feeling it. And then they scored 1 goal against the Rangers. Uh,
And Burakovsky goes down.
and Burakovsky goes down, which is huge. Which honestly, and we had kind of talked about it. In order for some of those guys to get those opportunities, you had to pull guys out that weren't playing as well, or you had to get some of those injuries, right? And
You
so
said it right. Let's call
unfortunately,
spade a spade. He wasn't playing well.
right, he wasn't playing well. It's really unfortunate for him. I mean, at this point, he is an injury concern, right?
Yeah.
So they ended up shaking the lines up. They dropped McCann down to the third line. I think, like you and I were kind of discussing, I don't necessarily think that's based off of performance because McCann. It's not like McCann was their worst player. It's not like McCann was playing like a third liner and needed to be moved down. But they just kind of shook him up to kind of like we brought up last time. The Boston, after their cups, right, or after their cup, right? It was just like they're just going through the motions, right? And I felt like the Kraken we talked about it. So they did switch it up. They put Cartier on the top line, and he totally deserved that. I think he was playing good hockey. Him and
I think he played great.
yeah, and he played great. He played great next to Matty Beniers, right? I think he had a goal in that game, right? Like I think Cartier is a gamer. So yeah, I liked seeing that line shake up, right? It just kind of forces guys to get out of just stop skating through the motions, right? You put on a line with Yanni Gord and Eli Tolvanen, who McCann has like barely played with Tolvanen, right? And has played with Yanni Gord a couple times, right? It forces a guy even like McCann to say, okay, I gotta re-click here. I gotta re-engage to say where's Yanni gonna be, right? And so I think that's good. I think you want that chemistry. We talk about that a lot, right? Where you want to build that chemistry, but if your chemistry that you're building isn't resulting in wins and goals, right? Switch it up, right? You got to find the chemistry, and Hackstall finally kind of shook things up a little bit. I don't, we're giving him a little bit of credit. I think he moved 2 fucking guys, right? So I mean,
I mean,
it wasn't crazy.
Shore's in the game because of injury, so it's not
right.
it's not the end of the world.
Right. Yeah, but I think overall they played well. I mean, they were up 3-1, right? Like, penalties killed them. And, all of a sudden they're down 4-3, right? So, I mean, there's still some things that they need to kind of shake out. Getting their second win of the season. Nobody's going to sit here and say, terrible game and why did they win, right? Like, nobody's going to do that, but.
Sure. And honestly, I mean, you come to this show for hot takes, but we're going to sound like a broken record here. Like, you look at these last 7 games that they've played, 7-8 games that they've played. What's the lowest goals against that we've had in any of these games? 3, 4?
No, St. Louis.
The St. Louis game wasn't OT. Okay, so that's you take the St. Louis game out. We've had 3 to 4 goals against a game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's like, if you set yourself, because this was a problem last year. Last year we just didn't care. We're like, okay, we're going to allow 3 to 4 goals in a game. We're just going to score 5 and 6.
Right.
Okay, we talked about it last year. That's just not a recipe to win. Like, Toronto can do that.
Sure.
The Kraken cannot.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit more firepower in order to use that as your game plan.
Correct. So we've got to find a way to lower that number of goals. And this is not me finally segueing into more Grubauer bashing, because it's not. Joey Dackert and Grubauer have been splitting time, and it's equally on them. I think they've played equally okay.
Sure.
Is that probably the best way? Like, they're not playing elite.
Yeah.
They're not playing elite, but they're playing fine. I think the defense here is, like, the problem has been, like, we're focusing a lot on the offense drying up, but we're not losing games 1-0, 2-0.
Right.
Like, we're losing games 4-5 to 1, normally, under normal circumstances. This game was kind of an outlier, and the Carolina game was an outlier.
Yeah, I mean, we've been a broken record for three years on this, right?
Yeah.
They have a first D pair that is probably closer to a second pairing on contenders, right? And then realistically, they have 2 third pairing defensemen, third pair defenseman lines after that, right? So their D is, I mean, they're getting away with it, but that was their area of need big time, right? Because
Only
that offense dries up, that
right.
D's gotta step up. So I don't know.
Yep. Hard to win games 4-5 every night.
Sure.
Very difficult. So, but yeah, so Seattle, they're kind of middling along at the moment. Nice win in Detroit. That'll boost their spirits a little bit, and I think they go on a road trip here for a little while. Rough night.
Better on the road? Do they play better on the road? I should.
Weird. It's weird to say because
it feels like it.
The Seattle barn is so cool, and
it's loud.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I don't understand why, but in any case, I guess that they're better on the road. Got that. Detroit is, I mean, not even because I'm a Detroit fan, but like Detroit is the talk of the town right now. They've got leading scorers at the moment, I believe. I would have to double check because it changes regularly.
No,
but
Jack Hughes is now officially
Hughes is up there. Okay, so but for about a week, both DeBrincat was the goals leader and Larkin was the points guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason Hall was the highest in plus minus.
Hell yeah, what a stud, dude.
Suck it, Toronto.
Yeah, fucking thanks for Hall.
Toronto fans just punching air right now. They need one more reason to be upset.
Yeah.
God damn it. That's funny as shit. Yeah, that's not going to last. But in any case, yeah, the Red Wings been playing. As somebody can be self-critical of a team, they are outscoring a lot of defensive problems. But
sure,
when you've got two of the leading point and goal scorers in the league, you can overlook some of that stuff.
When you have elite forwards, you can do that, right? Yeah. Who can you look to on the Kraken and say he's gonna score tonight, right? It's just a matter of when.
None.
It's nobody, right?
None.
Yeah. Whereas, I mean, you know it's coming with DeBrincat and him and Larkin are absolutely clicking, right?
God.
It's stupid. So, and like Larkin is a very good player. He's not an elite superstar top 3-point guy in the league or hasn't been. But I mean, those two together, that's all it takes, man.
He's a koozie to Ovechkin. He's not Ovechkin.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like he's the guy next to the guy, but when he's all by himself, he's been the de facto guy because there's been nobody else there.
Right.
He's the Malkin to the Crosby, so to speak, and now he's got his Crosby.
I mean, no disrespect to Lucas Raymond or Tyler Bertuzzi.
A little bit,
but that's who he has had, right? I mean,
more disrespect to Bertuzzi. So I know Raymond's been taking a lot of heat recently. Like, how is this line popping off and he's not really doing anything? Let's remember that this kid's 21 years old.
Right.
Like, he's not even remotely in his prime yet. And there are guys in the league that we now consider all-star, like Clayton Keller and all these guys, like these guys that are absolutely popping off now. Like, it takes time to get used to the league and get comfortable. Like, he's 21 years old playing in the NHL. How is he supposed to feel fucking confident,
Well, and I mean, there was people saying that Jack Hughes was a bust.
Right.
Good God, that kid is fucking filthy, right? Like
he has arrived.
100%.
100%. As the Englishman with an orgasm said, "I'm arriving."
Oh. Isn't it? It's Tuesday, isn't it? That's always my favorite one. Yeah. I mean, so one of the things last thing I'll say on the Detroit Red Wings.
Then we can move on. Sebastian
Cossa, right? Is he? Are we going to see him at any point this season? Do we think the goalies are that much of an issue, or no?
No. You've got. I mean, they're playing solid enough. I think Reimer's been playing great in limited minutes. Ville Husso is, I think, playing satisfactory. Like it's not. There's been no egregious goals. Like nobody's looking at Ville Husso right now and saying like, oh, we're losing because of Ville Husso. It's not it. It's just you're not getting the goals that are supposed to be going in are being scored on Ville Husso, and the saves that he's supposed to be making, he's making the saves. And that's what you should expect from a goalie. Right. Reimer's fine, and then we also have fucking Lyon or not Lyon. We've got another goalie that's also like I think he's backing up Cossa or splitting time with Cossa in the AHL. We technically have 3 NHL level goalies, technically speaking. So, Yeah, there's no Casa will most like barring massive amounts of injuries, Casa will be in the AHL,
Yeah,
which is good. He
which
needs
is
to be
good.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
goalies do always take
It's
a little
it's
bit more
like
time of season.
it's like Kraken fans like they're rubbing their hands together when there's another injury. They're like, "Ooh, Shane Wright time," and it's like, stop. Like
Hmm.
Shane
Yeah,
Wright needs to
let him
be
do his thing.
Shane Wright needs to be in the AHL. Like he needs to be there. He
100%.
needs to cook. He needs to get tougher. He needs to get bigger. He needs to he needs to ease into the professional leagues. And this is a podcast where we definitely criticize the NHL for overcooking. Like
Hmm.
there are people that are like, oh, he needs to be in the AHL for a good like 3-4 years. It's like, okay, no, it's not what I said.
That's
Like
too much.
yeah, I didn't say that, but this is a kid who was literally like technically wasn't even supposed to be in the AHL this year.
Hmm.
Like
Right.
technically, based on his contract and his age, he should technically still be in fucking London or whatever the fuck.
Right. I think people are looking. I mean, Logan Cooley was the same draft, right?
Yeah.
So people are kind of looking at Logan Cooley and saying, "Well, look, he's already there." Well,
Logan
who the
Cooley wasn't supposed to be there.
he wasn't, and the Coyotes. He's a very good player. I'm not going to take anything away from Logan
No, of
Cooley. He's
course
a
not.
stud. But I mean, who the fuck else are they going to put in? Were they going to put Jason Zucker on the top power play? Like, no way,
Right.
man. So
Well,
yeah,
and to that point, and then let's use that as a segue over to the Yotes. Like Cooley he's turning up on the power play, great
yeah,
playmaking skills. I think he's got like 3 or 4 assists right now, all on the power play, and I think almost all of them are to Keller.
yeah.
So I can pass the puck to to Keller, and
Sure, sure.
yeah. Um, so there is that, but like his even strength stuff, he's still got it. He's learning the game, and he doesn't have any goals yet. He's not a fucking Connor Bedard or anything like that. So anybody who's making those comparisons it's ridiculous. So
I mean,
and
Slavkovsky went first overall in that draft, or you know what I mean. So
yeah,
like this wasn't the Connor Bedard Fantilli draft, right?
right,
This was
right,
these guys were going to be good. They might take a little bit more time to kind of come along and be good NHL players, not a superstar, right? Like
sure.
so but yeah, I mean what he's doing, it definitely helps having Keller and Schmaltz is playing good. You
Oh
know
yeah, oh yeah.
that D is much deeper than it's been. I think their D is a lot deeper than it
The
was even
vibe,
last
the
year.
vibes are so good. Like
Yeah,
I watched that game during the Frozen Frenzy last night against the Kings, and yeah, they were down 3-1, and then they ended up losing this game, but they came back. Like the Yotes of last year would not have come back.
oh
Like
yeah.
you sit on that you're like, all right, it's 3-1 right now. We resigned ourselves to a 6-1 defeat. Let's call it and head back to Mullet.
All right, it's 3-1. Bus leaves at 9.
Right.
Um,
Guys
yeah,
are already like booking, their room at fucking Luxor so they can stop over in Vegas on the way back to Arizona.
wouldn't you, dude? I mean, I would.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but now they're actually like there's some fight in these guys, and I think it's early in the season. And fuck, looking at the standings, man, they're by no means out of it.
No, they're gonna be.
They're right in the thick of things.
Yeah, they're gonna be a tough out all year. And
They are tied with them. They're tied with the Winnipeg Jets and 1 point behind the Minnesota Wild.
yeah, yeah. No, that's it's a good little young team, right? I mean, their oldest guy is probably Zucker, maybe Dumba, right? But I
Probably
mean,
Dumbo, yeah.
yeah, maybe Dumba. But I mean, they're young, right? But yeah, I mean, like you were saying, I think you texted me Keller is a superstar or something, a stud or something.
If
He is, and I've been saying it for years. It just
It's
it
because
just
he's on the
takes some
fucking
guys.
Coyotes, man. You watch this kid. If he was on any other, oh my god, if he was on the fucking Blackhawks or the Bruins or whatever, we'd be talking. This kid is fucking. Like, we're talking like right now, Pistorius or whatever. Like because he's on the Boston Bruins and he scored like 2 goals, we're like, oh fucking Pistorius is fucking here, and it's like
Portress,
whatever. Yeah,
Patois,
Patois. Is that how you say?
Patois. I don't know.
I thought it was the same last name as the guy with the blades for legs.
Oh, Edward Scissorhands.
Uh, no,
Oh,
the Blade Runner, the guy that ended up murdering his
oh,
wife.
yeah. I don't remember how it's pronounced.
Oh, okay.
That's another thing. Apparently, that was a big. There was a couple popular podcasts that were saying. I think it wasn't Vimelka. It was someone else, but they were mispronouncing his name, and just going off on these podcasters. It's like, motherfucker, dude. You all right? Let me throw 10 names at you that you've barely fucking
Right.
heard of, and see how you do. Like, let's
That are the names from a different country that we're supposed to fucking just pronounce off of face value
right.
and just know how they say it back there. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Judge more, pricks. Yeah. No. I'm excited about the Yotes. They're gonna be a fun team to watch. I will honestly probably turn them on any chance that I get. That's convenient and it's not our main teams. I watched a little bit of LA. LA looks solid. As much as I gave I always give Cam Talbot shit, not because he's bad. It's just because he's the champion of averageness. He's the champion of mediocrity. Like you're not going to win Stanley Cups with Cam Talbot, but you will get through the season, and he's an acceptable goaltender, and that's what he did in this. Like, did he play outstanding against the Yotes? No, but he was there to get the win, and he's better than Phoenix Copley.
Yeah, LA. I won't spend too much time on them. I mean, in that division, they can make the playoffs, right?
How is PLD at this point?
I mean, he's been playing pretty good. I think him and who's the other guy? Who's the guy that they got from Montreal? Center also.
Fucking
buddy.
Fucking dickhead.
Fiala? No, Fiala they got from Minnesota.
More?
No. Dano, yeah.
Dano.
Yeah, I think him and PLD are playing pretty well.
PLD's got 3 goals, 1 assist. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, they have some of those guys. I mean, are they going to make a push again? Probably not. I don't. I mean, as much as I hate Doughty as a human being, he's still a decent defender. But and Mikey Anderson, I know people are going to get on me about Mikey Anderson, but it's after Doughty, it's nobody's, right? And then mediocre average goaltending. They're probably a first round exit, right? Like
most likely, they're not going to move the needle much, but the playoffs is possible.
Yeah,
absolutely. One last before we get into our mid roll, one last hot take here. Rangers or Kings? Who has the best Lafreniere?
Oh, so the Kings is actually Laferriere.
Sorry. Okay,
yeah,
so he's
Lafreniere,
Laferriere and Lafreniere.
I'm gonna tweet how shitty you are at names right now.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And then all the fucking French Canadian hockey fans can come fucking fill up my DMs and I'll just tell them no.
Yeah. Right now, I mean, where they're at in the lineup plays a role, right? Who they're playing with.
Lafreniere does have 3 goals, which is better than
Lafreniere is figuring it out. He's got a nice little plum spot right now. I think he's playing with Panarin and Trocheck.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean, he's having a good season. Laferriere, where he's at, and on a Kings team that. I mean, yes, they scored a lot of goals last night, but I think in general, right, you don't think of them as like a complete offensive powerhouse. No. He's playing good hockey, and honestly, I think that's a wash, which is sad to say, but it's it is what it is.
Yep, I agree. All right, tell me a little bit about DraftKings, Taylor.
All right, DraftKings. The NFL season is going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every game day this October. Get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN as in the Hockey Podcast Network. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet 5 on the NFL. That's code THPN, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles, LA. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
You got through that pretty quick. You're getting better at it.
I am. Sure am.
Getting better every day. Are the Flyers kind of falling back to earth?
Yeah, I mean, we always knew they were going to, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think Torts is going to keep them into games. He's got another year under his belt as that head coach. He's able to kind of mesh that and mold that team into what he wants it to be. And he's got some of those guys that, you know, aren't super talented. I mean, it's probably not an argument to say Konechny is their most talented player on that team, right? Travis Sanheim is playing really good on the back end. Carter Hart's not playing bad in net, but I mean, you know, outside of that, those guys don't really have a huge option, stable of really high end talent to basically say, yeah, fuck you, Torts, I'm gonna go do what I want to do, right? So they kind of have to buy into a system a little bit in order to actually play some NHL games. So, yeah, I mean, we always knew they were going to come back down. It was super early in the season, but yeah, I mean, the way that Matvei Michkov is playing in Russia right now, I mean, this is a good young team that has some pretty high skilled players that are going to come through their system here pretty quick. So it's only a matter of time. Joel Farabee is going to figure it out, right? He might not ever be an even point per game player, but he's going to be a very good complementary piece, you know, in their future potential cup runs and stuff like that. So they do have some pieces. It's just they're very young. All right, I mean, they got some older guys, but they're really just fillers. Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I heard this game last night. I didn't get to watch it, but I heard the Vegas game. They gave them a little bit of a run. So you're going to see that from some of these teams. You know, Coyotes is a perfect example of that as well, right? You might not see the Coyotes in the playoffs this year, but you're going to see them give teams some runs nightly basis. So, yeah.
As somebody who still does to a degree, I respect the Vegas Golden Knights team. I do think they are very good. I'm not taking all that, but I'm starting to get mild resentment for their fans. They're starting to act real cocky, and it's kind of pissing me off.
Ooh,
like I'm not to the point where I'm like rooting against the Vegas Golden Knights. I do like the Golden Knights. Before Seattle existed, I was a Red Wings and Vegas Golden Knights fan. Definitely love the team. No complaints there. But Vegas fans are getting a little cocky, and I don't like it.
I mean,
I don't like it. They're like, oh, we're the first Stanley Cup team that's won 6 games in a row to start the season. It's like, yeah, look at your fucking schedule, bro. And then shout out to Sinbin. Ken on Sinbin is actually pretty responsive on Twitter, and we kind of threw some shade, and we're like, yeah, look at that schedule, like play a real team. And he's like, dude, we're Seattle, Winnipeg, and Dallas not playoff teams? I'm like, okay.
Love that answer.
That's
hilarious.
Yeah, okay. Sure, because that's literally what I said back. I was like, well, LOL, okay, Ken. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of people, and you know, everybody else in the league's kind of catching on, right? Like, okay, play someone at your own caliber. They played Dallas, and I'm not going to take anything away. Dallas,
that's
the Dallas
a 3-2
game was good.
Shootout win.
Yes,
that's a 3-2 shootout win. Like that's a coin flip game.
Sure, good win, right? That's their only good win. Winnipeg is a shell of even the team we saw at the beginning of last year, right? They made the playoffs because of their.
They're a 500 team.
Right. They made the playoffs last year because of their good start last year, right? So, you know, and then Kraken, you know,
They played the Ducks. They played the Sharks. The Kraken are not good right now.
Right.
You know, hoping for a rebound, but at the moment, this is a loose Kraken podcast. We're big enough to say that they're not playing well at the moment. And fucking who else?
Sharks.
Yeah, Sharks. And the Blackhawks, and then they play the Blackhawks like back to back. Like it's like Blackhawks, Flyers, Blackhawks.
Yeah.
So like there's a decent chance they get to 10, and it's like, Jesus Christ, somebody was really doing this.
Just giving them the fucking underhand ball throw. Yeah.
Jesus. But my point that I made on Twitter was like if the Vegas Golden Knights started on an East Coast road trip, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
100%. Because you know, they could be what 5-1, 6-1.
They are good.
Yes,
They are good. Not taken away from that, but like strutting around trying to tell me that this was like 100% earned when you just did like 5 of 6 games were just bum slaying,
sure.
soon to be 7 and 8. Like, what are we doing here?
Right. I mean, because you make it an East Coast swing to start after your start the season.
Right.
One of those teams is going to be better than you on that given night. Like it's
start in Florida, play Florida, Tampa, and Carolina your first 3 games of the season, and tell me that you are just so confident that they're going to go 3-0.
Well, Carolina isn't playing all that great right now.
No, but
I'm with you.
Is Carolina better than the fucking San Jose Sharks?
Yeah, they're going to give you a much better game.
Right.
So yeah, you know what? Grow the game, right? Love them bringing a team to Vegas. Those
all good points.
I've had conversations. I don't remember where I was, but I was going through and there was some Vegas fans. They just don't know. They don't know. No. They don't know, and they basically walked into the league. We're good. Won a Stanley Cup, and they just that's all they know, right? So sure. They just know success. They don't know being able to kind of take a step back and go, oh well, you're not wrong. Dusty Bender, because yes, we haven't played any good teams.
To be completely unbiased, like they've probably got another 2-3 year window.
Yeah.
As long as Mark Stone can stay relatively healthy, and Mark Giroux, as long as you keep that core together, you start taking pieces away. I don't know if Jack Eichel can do it all by himself, but we see how that goes. If they win back-to-back cups, then their window's over because all those guys are going to want pay raises.
Yeah, and look, those are games you still have to win, right?
Yep.
But don't get cocky. Don't be those fucking people because your team is beating always bottom dwellers.
Always under right, exactly. Don't be sitting here telling me, oh, those are all playoff teams, huh? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
I saw one too where the guy didn't include the Kraken, which is good. That's at least recognizing that Kraken are not playing good hockey. They played good hockey 2 games out of 6 or whatever, right?
Correct.
But still saying the Winnipeg Jets. So like you won a point because you didn't include the Kraken like Ken did, and then you lose a point because Winnipeg fucking sucks, dude.
Winnipeg's really bad.
They're okay. They won again last night, but I mean, it's just
like
they beat St. Louis.
Yeah. We're not penciling it like good team to me is teams that we can immediately pencil in as playoff teams. Like the Avalanche are making the playoffs. Dallas is making the playoffs. Minnesota is probably making the playoffs.
Yeah.
These are teams that I can pencil in and be like, all right, these are good fucking teams. They are playing teams that I can pencil in saying the Sharks are not making the playoffs. The Ducks aren't making the playoffs.
Right.
The Blackhawks are not making the playoffs.
Right.
These are
that's questionable. Winnipeg is questionable. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm with you 100%. Right. Go do an East Coast swing. You come out of that sucker 6-0. Yeah. Sure. You have every right to talk down.
And these are minor nitpicks because I'm not sitting here saying that the Golden Knights are overrated. They are playing quite well, and they're beating these teams how they should be beating these teams. Like when one of the Red Wings, they were on a 5-game win streak. Technically they still haven't lost in regulation in 6, but when they beat Columbus 4-0, like, is that a big deal? No, but you're supposed to beat Columbus 4-0.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, not to take anything away from Vegas. Right,
yeah,
but
no.
you can ruin a team for me real fast by being a total douchebag.
Correct.
Right? Like just not, and I understand not everybody knows hockey like you and I, or even everybody that listens to this podcast because we're all smarties. But like, use your common sense. Like, use a brain a little bit, dude. But those fan base. That's why I don't like Edmonton. Right, like Edmonton is a decent team, which
you read my mind.
Look at that. That's a great
tell me a little bit about the Edmonton Oilers, Taylor.
The Edmonton Oilers don't have Connor McDavid, so that's why they're losing.
I mean, they were losing even when he was on the team, but
they're struggling right now. I mean, they
goaltending. Let's start from the back out.
Yeah,
goaltending is bad.
It's not good.
There is no answer. Like, it doesn't matter which one they put in. It's like, did you see the clip of Leon like fighting every urge in his body not to get up and strangle Skinner in the locker room.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's
But
just goaltending is a
his face,
problem,
like,
man.
what'd you think of Stuart? Basically the media guy was like, hey, what did you think of Skinner losing the game for you? Is
Yeah.
basically the question,
What
and
a
Leon's like,
triggered.
what
Yeah.
do you want me to say? Like,
He was bad. Yeah. I think I
yeah,
just.
he made a mistake, like he fucked up.
That's such a terrible question.
Oh, so
Be
awful.
be better, people.
Right.
Um. Yeah. He's just so stupid. So
Hey, what do
stupid.
you think of your terrible goalie?
Hey, you.
And give me reasons why he's
Yeah.
bad.
Can you give me 3 examples of why he's the shittiest goalie in the league? Like, what are you fucking doing, dude?
God, I swear the people who write for our sport sometimes, I just don't. I feel
I
like
wanted Leon to be like, yeah, get him out of here.
right,
That guy right there.
yeah,
He's dumb, stupid.
like don't
Pass an
ever fucking
IQ
talk
test.
to me again. Yeah,
It's terrible.
no,
Yeah,
I could see that.
they got problems in net big time, and it's funny because in the preseason, it's the preseason, but you know you can get a little bit of a vibe of how guys are how guys are looking, right? I think
Yeah,
what's the rust factor, right? What's the rust level, and both their tendies look decent, right? I
yeah,
mean, I think Campbell was playing pretty well in the preseason. He played the last couple preseason games and looked pretty good. Skinner had a couple shoddy ones in preseason, but then he had a couple good wins. So
mhm.
it's interesting to see the marbles are fucking they're actually falling. These are actual games that matter, and oh shit, there's an actual problem here in between the pipes. So yeah,
Pipe,
that's clearly their biggest issue.
pipes are bad. Bouchard looks bad.
Yeah,
Um,
their D looks to me their D looks like they didn't play together at all last year.
no
Right?
chemistry.
No chemistry. They look almost lost. I don't know.
Yeah,
So I mean, they have on paper, right? Their top four is decent, right? Like I'm not Cody Cece isn't a guy to call home about, but I mean, Ekholm, Bouchard, as much as we give Nurse shit, he's a very serviceable second pairing defenseman. He's not worth 10 million or whatever the fuck he's making,
no.
but he's a very serviceable defenseman. They just look like they all took the fucking summer off, haven't talked to each other, didn't talk to each other in training camp or preseason. They basically were just like, yeah, I guess we're partners on the blue line.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, the goalies look like shit, but I don't think the D are doing them any favors. So
No,
I think that's an issue as well. But
it is. Well, and stop me if you've heard this, but it seems like this team is not getting any depth scoring.
oh, really?
Shocking,
They
right?
usually do.
What? Yeah, this is usually a 4 lines deep team.
100%.
It's almost like yeah. Even the guy that they brought in specifically to score, like they're like, hey, these two guys on our team make up like 90% of our scoring.
Yeah.
We should probably bring in at least a third, like one more guy to like kind of help with this. And he's got like what, one goal?
Nah, that's
Evander
fair.
Kane just hit the waiver wire in our fantasy league.
Yeah, I did.
Since not in a million years. Like even you and I do not like the guy. He's a prick, but he still has a home in our fantasy league.
Right. Yeah, he's still a
And
goal
he's
scorer.
fucking hitting waiver wires right now because he's got like 1 goal and 1 assist.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they gotta. And I saw a couple people. This is a good test for Draisaitl when McDavid's out. Right? Is he, one of the best players in the world, or is he?
I think he is.
Is he a coattail guy? Right?
I,
And
I think I think Leon will enjoy great numbers, but their record will not be good.
yeah, that's fair.
He could put up 3 points a game, and they're still going to lose.
They got some problems right now. I've seen Woodcroft's name come across the feed as being a potential
hot seat.
potential hot seat candidate. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know what kind of coaching is out on the market though. So yeah, they got to find something though, because I mean 2 quick losses to Vancouver and then they haven't seemed right. So yeah, they gotta fix something there.
Taylor, I think that team just needs a good look through their phones.
Yeah, maybe bring in Mike Babcock. Maybe that's the key. Maybe that's the ticket. Maybe McDavid is just he's sending way too many nudies or something.
That's it. I think we need to see some family pictures.
Yeah, Oh, don't like this one. Delete.
Don't, I don't like this person. You need to cut all contact with this person. That's my
Mm-hmm.
mom. Yep. Yeah,
I
you don't need
said.
to
I
talk to her
said.
anymore.
I said what I said.
Yep, that's right. Um, Speaking of hot seats at the moment, and jumping a little further south in the Great White North, Ottawa. So recently played Buffalo on the Frozen Frenzy night, and the reason we want to focus on these two teams right now is because early in the season it was kind of in the East anyway. The three teams that were like, will they, won't they? Which one of them is going to take the step and be a playoff team? Detroit, Buffalo, and Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some very ambitious people thought all three were going to make it in. Some even slightly less ambitious people were thinking two of them. And then at least I think most of the preseason brackets that I've seen have at least one of these teams in the playoffs.
Right.
So it's interesting to like kind of see how this is shaking out so far. So Detroit and Buffalo have not played yet, but Detroit has played Ottawa and Buffalo has played Ottawa. And Ottawa's dropped both these games in pretty spectacular fashion. I watched both a little bit of the Buffalo game, not as much as the Red Wings game, obviously, but I watched it. It was a weird Buffalo Ottawa game. They kind of like got back into it, and like it was like the last 3 minutes they were down like 5-1 or something, and then the game ended like 6-4 or something, some
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous shit. Leave it to Buffalo to maybe screw it up. But yeah, what are you seeing from Ottawa right now? Because I'm seeing goaltending problems,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing a lot of penalties.
Yeah. Penalties is a big thing. All right. There's the whole Brady Kachuk fighting. I think it was Tuck at the end of that
He's
game.
fighting everybody. He's like fighting once. So I haven't followed Ottawa up to this point. You're a little more up on the Kachucks. Does Brady do this every, like, is he known for like a fight every game kind of thing?
I feel like having him on my fantasy team last year, I
Yeah.
feel like he did this like he almost comes back from the summer and just has all this pent up energy and anger,
Uh-huh.
and then he kind of calms down and then he starts fucking putting up goals and shit. So I don't
Okay.
know if this is just like an early, I don't know what Keith Kachuk said to him over the summer that just really fucking pissed him off, and now he's going again.
Mhm.
But yeah, he plays with a chip, but I think it's just getting him to basically settle down and say, look, you can play with a chip, but we need you on the ice, right? Like
Sure.
besides Stutzla, you are like far and away our best forward, right? So like you gotta kind of reel it in a little bit, and I think they're kind of they'll get there, right?
Sure. And
Um,
Norris has come back from injury and he's been doing great.
yeah,
It's scoring goals has not necessarily been their problem.
Tarasenko's looking like he
Yeah,
wanted to be in Ottawa his whole fucking career.
yeah. It's
You know,
their scoring goals is not necessarily the problem from what I've seen. It's just they're letting in an ungodly amount of goals.
yeah, very similar vein to Toronto, right? I mean, we expected Toronto to let in a ton of goals. I mean, we even brought this up, right? And I think you and I had Ottawa pretty low on our rankings because they replaced Talbot with essentially the same goalie. I think Korpisalo is a little bit better, but it's essentially the same Tendy, right? Just a
Yeah.
pretty average. Is going to get you some wins, going to get you some losses.
Yep.
So I don't. They got off to a hot start, and I think people were like, "Well, see, we fucking told you," and now they're
Mhm.
coming back down to earth a little bit. So yeah, goaltending is, and Forsberg isn't. He's not a world beater. He's not a terrible Tendy, but I mean, they have two pretty, you know, yeah, they're okay. On the right night, they can play good goaltending, and
Sure.
on nights like this, they're gonna get fucking dusted. So
They're just, to me, like, I'm not putting them in the lowest tier. Like, I'm not saying they're bad. It's just they're playing like how a team that would play if they're 500 hockey is what I like to call it. Like, they're playing 500 hockey right now where they're playing just good enough to win every other night, and that's not going to get you in the playoffs.
yeah, yeah,
And you could probably almost copy and paste that to Buffalo because it's in fact they're almost similar in the sense that they're scoring, like, offense to me is not necessarily the problem. At least that's the vibe that I get. It's
yeah.
they just got to limit the damage a little bit.
Yeah, I think Buffalo until the last couple games have had a little bit more of a problem figuring out what their lines look like.
Okay.
And so they actually have had a little bit. They haven't been getting a ton of goal scoring from those top guys. Now Skinner and Tuck. Tuck just had a goal and an assist in this game, right? You need those two guys. You can't just put Tage Thompson with the players that they have him with on that top line
Yeah.
and say you're going to go win us games, right?
Right.
They need the second line if they're going to put Tuck and Skinner on that second line. They need that second line to figure it out a little bit, and they've started to. So yeah, Buffalo, and we know Buffalo's D. We know Buffalo has two of the better young defensemen. Owen Power isn't lighting the world on fire, but he's a damn good defenseman, good two-way guy. And Rasmus Dahlin got paid for a reason. I mean, he's a good young guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I think you look even further into the goalie situation, like you were saying with Ottawa. They got three that they're rotating in Buffalo. They don't know what the fuck to do.
That's just not, that is not good.
Yeah, I
Like,
honestly
that's just not how you can get it. If you're any of those goaltenders, how do you feel confident?
you don't because I mean I think each one of them have played two games, right? Like you can't get any sort of rhythm, but it's also it's also on them too, right? Like you gotta bring yourself above that and say, yeah, I'm in a three-headed monster in this net. I gotta play my fucking lights out because I want more than 2 of 6 games. I want more than a third of the games, right? So,
Yep.
yeah, they got a little bit of work to do there, but I think both these teams will still end up being closer to that wild card than I think probably the records would tell you right now. I mean, I still think they're good teams. That's a very tough division, though. So
Very true.
who knows?
Yeah, that's going to be definitely. I almost don't want to. The West is just so boring. Like, everybody is so aggressively mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the West, there is no one. Like, there's like two or three teams that are standing out from the pack in the West. Everybody else is just average.
Right.
Like, everybody's like 500 or slightly below 500, and it's just not. It's too hard to make. It's too early to make any fucking predictions on them.
Right. Right.
Kraken could rattle off 4 wins and they're right back in it.
Yeah. Yeah. For that Pacific, man. Oof.
Yeah, that Pacific. Other than Vegas, the Pacific is wide open.
It's wide open. Who fucking knows? Yeah. The only other team I want to talk about in the East, we kind of touched on the Flyers, but I did want to talk about. Big shout out to Jack Hughes. I think we brought it up a little
Devils,
bit.
yeah.
Devils.
Weird game tonight as we record this against the Caps.
Yeah, they were. I was ready to write them off. They were down 3-rip. Made a nice comeback and then proceeded to fucking lose anyways. But they're on a back to back, right? Actually, I think Washington was too. But, anyways, yeah, just a tough loss tonight, and it's dropping down the standings a little bit. But I still think this team is pretty solid. I mean, their goaltending is going to be an issue again.
If they just got a goaltender, how long have we been talking about this? Just make just get Gibby. Like, that's all. Like, Gibby wants to be there. The Devils want you. Just like make it happen.
And Gibby's not even playing his best hockey right now, but
he's been mentally checked out in Anaheim for a while.
Oh fuck yeah, he's ready to leave. He's been ready to leave, man. So yeah, and right now, like, this is the time. If you're the Devils GM, this is the time to be calling Verbeek. Even me as a Ducks fan, you can get him low.
Yeah,
right. You can get him for a lot less than you would have a couple of years ago.
Lots of goalies out there that would be an improvement on this. I'm not saying that these guys can't be good. It's the problem is not that they don't have good games. It's that they're inconsistent as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Both Vanacek and how do you say it? Schmid,
yeah.
Schmid, yeah. They're inconsistent. One night they're great, and the next one it's not. And I'm not saying like trade for fucking Mackenzie Blackwood, but like I can't believe I'm saying this, but like a Cam Talbot is not a terrible decision.
Yeah, 24 goals for, 23 goals against. You're going to be 3-2-1 if that's where you're at, right? I mean, it's not ideal.
You've got to be able to limit. It doesn't matter. It's unless you have elite level scoring like Toronto, Tampa is seeming to do it while Vasilevsky's out. Like, you can outscore a lot of your problems, but and credit where credit is due. The Devils are a great offensive team right now. It's just you've got when you get 10 shots on, 2 go in, but you let 1 past you and it goes in, it's a killer.
Yeah, 6 goals against on 25 shots tonight.
Fuck. That's not good. It's not going to do it.
It's not going to cut it, man.
It's not going to cut it. So you need Devils. They won't do anything right now. They'd be smart to do it right now, but they're not going to do it right now.
Yeah, let them have a whole season there. It's just whatever.
There are teams that, because the problem is it's probably a trade partner, but that, again, going back to, I don't know why I keep picking up on Anaheim, but Anaheim makes sense. Like, it's not too early in the season for Anaheim. Anaheim knows they're not going to make the playoffs.
Right.
Like, right. It's not like, well, maybe we'll get to 20 games and we'll see where we're at. Like, no, like Anaheim, if we're at 20 games and Anaheim is like above the wild card, all of us are freaking out and we're going like, the Ducks are like, oh, we got to get rid of Gibby just to get worse. Like,
I mean, so realistically, right? Like, Ducks fans are going to get on me about this because they want a first rounder for Gibby, but it's just not going to happen. So a second round pick and a prospect, and that prospect is potentially Alexander Holtz, right, or someone in that realm, right? If I'm New Jersey, I'm doing that. I just reinvigorate him, put him on the East Coast where he grew up, yeah, and that's all you need.
That's all I'm picking on him, but I mean, there's probably some other options out there that probably would be suitable as well. Mm-hmm. But no, the Devil, it's like you and I talked about before. The Devils are a above average to great goaltender away from being a legit contender.
A absolute, if they lose in the first round, it's the biggest upset in a while, right? I mean, it's just that's really all they need is a goaltender who can get them there. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. The only other team I wanted to talk about, I know we're coming up on time.
Yeah,
Carolina. I'm a little
weird.
Concerned with Carolina.
Really weird.
I know they have a couple injuries, right?
They just cannot stay healthy.
They can't. Freddie went down.
We need to bring. I want to talk to a Carolina podcast because I need to hear the hate and the hurt.
There's gotta be like their training program or their medical staff. Something's up, man. Because Aho down, Freddie Anderson down, right? That's your top 2 players in 2 different positions.
Yep.
Right. You already had Svechnikov out. Their D is they're playing much lower than they should. I mean, that's a good defensive unit.
It is a good defensive unit. Maybe the assignments aren't necessarily great. I don't like Dmitry Orlov with Tony DeAngelo.
Yeah.
Because those are two offensively minded defensemen, and the stats are really not good for them.
Well, I'd say Orlov is more two-way, but I think you're right. I think
he's not a shutdown D to make up for Tony DeAngelo playing literally no defense.
Yeah, I agree. And what's funny is they have shutdown D on this team, right? I don't know. You can't put it past Brendan Moore, right? Brendan Moore will figure it out. This team, this team, and getting Svechnikov and Aho, I from what I read, isn't out for too long. So I mean, it's not a huge deal, but they went into Anaheim, lost, got absolutely, I think it was 6-3, 6-4, something like that.
Nope.
That's not good.
No,
it's not good. And then they went up to the Kraken, who hadn't won a game yet. Right? We're barely fucking just weren't scoring at all.
Kraken put 7 on them.
Put 7 on them. Right? Like that's just and maybe that's playing down to your opponent, right? Like
maybe.
That's something you get the rust out and a good coach is going to stop you from doing that. But that's 2 bad losses, man. And then they, and Tampa's a good team even with Vazzy out, but can't get a fucking goal against a non-Vazzy Tampa Bay Lightning?
You shouldn't be getting shut out by a goalie that we can't even remember his fucking name.
I mean, Johansson's the only one I know that's on that team.
It might be him.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was him. Right?
Oh, you missed. Pesci now is out with long-term injury,
and that's not ideal, right? I mean, but that decor is still pretty solid. There's
and you've been missing Svech. We haven't talked about that either.
Yeah, which he'll help. I know he's close, right? They didn't send him on the road trip. So, I mean, I think things are looking up. And Kochetkov, right? Kochetkov's a guy that, played really well last year. He's still got a ton of talent on the back end. So if Freddie's out or Ranta's out for any sort of period of time. But it's just listen to these shots. 23 goals for the Lightning, 30 goals against, and Carolina had 32 and could not get any past. It was Johansson, dude. Yeah, it was Johansson, dude. It's ridiculous.
Johansson is not. It's not a good goalie. Like,
he's not a 32 save shutout goalie. He's just not.
No, no.
You got to figure something out. Yeah,
that's
it's crazy.
Pretty bad.
So I wanted to touch on them real quick because they've had it's been very up and down, right? They'll have good games and they'll go get beat by the Ducks. They'll have good games and then they'll go get beat by the fucking Kraken and then get shut out by Tampa. So they can't quite. They're riding the coaster. They can't quite, grasp what they need to do. And Svech and Aho being back, it will definitely help. But yeah, it's scary.
Very scary. But it's still early.
Yeah. Oh, Aho did play. There you go.
Before we end on fantasy, you should know that the Minnesota Wild are still playing hockey.
Yeah. So are the Islanders.
The Islanders they're still in the league?
Yes, they are.
Huh.
Yep. They sure are. We own an Islander player. We have an Islander player on our team.
I forgot.
It's crazy. It is.
I forgot. I thought he was a Thrashers player.
He is. He's a whaler. He's a seal.
So walk me through a little bit of our recent activity. Oh, first off, we're 2-0.
We are 2-0. We're fucking studs, dude.
If we hit 3-0, I think it's time to kick up the shit talking meter a little bit.
Yeah, we've been pretty nice to everybody. There's some teams with some higher points for than us. We are fifth highest points for out of 20 teams. There's some good teams in there. Honestly, what's kicking our ass are fucking tendies, man.
Yeah. Good so if Neil, if you listen to our show, you got to fix these tendies, man.
We had a legitimate.
It's better to literally drop our tendies.
Chance and I had a legitimate conversation about, yes, we probably each had a couple beers in our system. This league is so shitty for, like, the highest point goalie has like 10 points, and we're 6 games into the season.
It's bad.
It's crazy. It's fucking insanity. And so we had we had a little conversation about dropping all of them and just saying, fuck it, these goalies are pointless in this league. Why the fuck do we have any goalies? Let's just get rid of them.
So it wasn't Frozen Frenzy night, but it was like a weekend night where a lot of teams were playing. I have a screenshot where at one point we had minus 15 points from our 3 goalies.
That's insane.
It's absolutely nuts.
It's just, and yes, our attendees haven't been playing that good, but in comparison, right?
It's like 1 or 2 minus points.
Sure, if even, right? Like we'd be coming out, right? Like they're still making fucking saves, right? Like they're still in the game. They're still dressed and in between the pipes,
right?
Right? Like you can't just say, yeah, they were there, but they let in 3 goals. I think there was 3 goals
so bad
against or something.
I've never seen it before.
6 points.
Never
seen it before. Insanity. So yeah, we definitely we're kicking that around if they continue to be shitty, because I mean we're still winning.
Minus 11 points from that night. Thankfully we didn't have Korpisalo in, but Korpisalo was minus 6.4. Samsonov was minus 5 point, and Samsonov had a bad night. Like
yes.
But minus 5.8 is fucking ridiculous.
That's
and then
too many.
And then Elvis Merzlikins won. He won his game. Granted, 4 goals on 24 shots is not good, but he won his game, and we got 0.8.
That's ridiculous. So wins don't even count.
Wins don't do fuck all.
Are we not counting saves? Maybe that's what it is. We're just goalies are just so negative in this league, and it's just what's the point, man? I'd rather. I mean, at this rate. Right, Ryan Donato had 1 assist, 1 shot on goal.
Yeah,
and he had 1.
Ryan Donato had more points than all of our goalies combined.
Yes, he had. Yes, no, he had more points than our goalie that won. He had more points than Elvis Merzlikins with 4 goals against on 28 shots, and he won the game. And Ryan Donato had more points than him. What's the point? That's stupid.
There isn't.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah,
Torrey Krug put up more points, and he didn't do anything.
Well, he's a fucking ghost.
He had 4 blocked shots.
Oh, good for him. What a
Which to be fair, he had more saves that night than Ilya Samsonov. So...
Well, yeah, but not more saves than fucking Merzlikins and Torrey Krug didn't win the game. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. We'll just go through this real quick. We're running low on time. So some of our pickups lately, we did pick up Kyle Palmieri last week. Not a beautiful pickup. I mean, he's not anybody to literally, tell your grandma about.
Second line, first power play.
You can't complain about it, right? Kalen Addison's another one that we picked up. He is getting that top power play minutes and things like that on Minnesota. He's been okay. I think D is pretty shallow in this league,
they're really struggling without Spurgeon. There's no clear number one defenseman in Minnesota,
and they need to identify it, right? I mean, the coach needs to make somebody. And I think
Broden's got to look.
Faber. I think Faber's getting the most minutes. He's getting a lot of 5-on-5 minutes,
but he's not power play.
But he's not a power play guy. So Kalen Addison isn't a bad option there. I think the one that we just picked up today could potentially be a drop candidate as soon as Svechnikov is back for us. But Ilya Mikheyev, he's not. Chance and I were talking about it today. 2 games, he was hurt to start the season. 2 games in, he's not getting any power play time really, but he's got a goal and an assist. And he's playing with Pettersson.
Sometimes fantasy's all riding the hot streak. Like, it's not going to last. These guys are not. Sometimes it's not consistency, but they'll go on like a 3 or 4 game heater, and you just got to ride the wave.
Right, and Ryan Donato, had an assist last game, but he's, in general, not doing a ton anymore, right?
So
you can easily drop him for a hot streak.
You own Ryan Donato because he's skating next to Connor Bedard.
Yeah, and for a little bit there, he wasn't even skating next to Connor Bedard.
Yep.
Right. So it's keeping an eye on that stuff. If you're not using, if you are playing fantasy, I don't know how many people are listening to us fantasy wise. If you are playing fantasy, one of the sites that we like to use is Daily Faceoff. You'll hear us talk about it a lot. Definitely check in on that. That's not a tell all, right? You still got to use your brain a little bit, but it definitely helps, right? I mean, it's an opportunity gauge. So,
right.
Yeah, but it's been fun. I mean, fifth most points in this league with a very competitive league of THPN podcasters.
Yes.
We can't complain too much, right?
Nope. It's definitely been a fun league so far.
Sure has.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you all. Remember, please subscribe to us or like us or follow us or whatever the hell you do to listen to your podcast or watch your podcast. Follow us on Twitter. We're pretty active on there. And just support the show. Guys, we appreciate all of our listeners. We really thank you guys. We hope you guys enjoy listening to us talk about hockey, and hopefully you get some laughs along the way. Hopefully it's something you look forward to in your week, because that's what we're going for.
Hell yeah.
All right. Everybody, thanks again, and we'll see you next week.